continue to grow. But that is my thank you to you. Thank you to Henry. Thank you to everyone that has supported me, not only just building this, but in my trading career also. It can be very lonely, and you know, any support helps, right? It does not cost a lot to pick someone up when they're a little down, and you're going to find yourself down in this journey one way or the other, and that's why we built this. So you know that when you are down, because that time will come, you have not only just one person, but a group and collective of individuals that will be here to pick you up. I'm super excited to get this thing going, and I cannot wait to see where we all go. And I'm going to pass it over to Henry so he can give his thank yous and give a little introduction to him, and then we'll give you guys a little background between us two.
Yeah, great to see everyone this morning. Thanks for taking the time to join us. We've been doing this for a little over 8 months now, and I see a lot of familiar faces in here. Some have been with us since the very beginning, and it's great to see everyone returning. We've seen a lot of folks for a while now along their journey, and to see the growth that has happened is very inspiring. It makes us want to continue doing this. Thanks to all the new folks joining us today as well. I see a couple more continuing to come in, and yeah, it's great to see everyone, and I'm happy that you've taken this opportunity to come and join us and continue building the trading career as well. I want to thank all of you for being here, and I want to thank Carson. We've been working on this for a while. It takes a lot more time than I thought to get a website together, but we've been working hard on it, and put a lot of great features for you all together to engage with each other and have a supportive community behind you. And we hope that you really find a lot of value in it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting started and getting this ramped up, and I think we've got a lot of good stuff going on here, and I'm very proud of this community where it is right now, and I know we're going to continue to grow as well.
Now, a little background behind myself and Henry. I've had a couple communities before, just simple little tiny Discord communities. I've always felt the need to want to help traders. I've been blessed to be able to kind of have the verbatim and the vernacular to be able to express my trading to where someone can digest it and understand it thoroughly. And you know, throughout time, I never really found something that really stuck. And in January, I decided to go on Twitter, and I started posting my insights, and I started gaining a following. One of my first followers was actually Henry. And what started just being kind of DMs, questions back and forth on Twitter, we decided that we would hop on just a Zoom call on the weekends. With that being said, we kind of just started talking, and we started allowing more people to join, telling people to DM us. And from there, you know, it kind of just started to grow as the weeks kind of kept on. More people would hop on. And then once we reached a point where we had, you know, X amount of people joining, we said, you know, myself and Henry decided that we wanted to build something that was more than just one email a week, one call a week where there was no traction. We wanted to actually create something for you guys to use day in and day out. So we started working on it, going back and forth, names, platforms, whatever the case is. And here we are. A little bit more about me and how I got into trading. 6 years ago, I was at a point in my life where I knew that I wanted to do something with regards of creating money based on my own time. And someone, you know, just like most of you, someone posted something online about this thing called trading, and it was a MetaTrader screen, and they made $2,000 in a day or whatever. And, you know, my first thought was, if they can do it, I can do it. I don't know what they know. I don't know what they do, but whatever that is, I reached out to them. I ended up actually paying someone who wasn't really well off at trading at all, really. And that actually specific person does not trade anymore. But I actually ended up having to pay $500 for Baby Pips. If you do not know what Baby Pips is, it's a very, very simple, free website. And that was kind of my foot into the door. I didn't know what TradingView was, didn't know what MetaTrader was, and I just started kind of working and growing in there. I ended up joining IML. If anyone knows what IML is, it's a well-known brand. And, you know, if you know what IML is, you know how that ended, and it did not get far. And I realized that I was nowhere in means to teach someone how to trade because I was brand new, a couple months into trading, and didn't know ICT, didn't know any of this stuff. I was using trend lines, using RSIs, doing all that stuff. I went down every single rabbit hole, Elliott wave, harmonics. I did everything. I got my feet wet in every aspect of it to try to figure out what worked and what didn't. And very shortly after that, I met an individual actually through IML who just sent me, this guy named Michael. And then from there, everything else went out the door, and it was just me and Michael, and all that kind of transposed over time. It took me time. I had countless notebooks of study. My college life kind of consumed just learning ICT. I was a weirdo. I had charts all over my room. I had pictures everywhere on my ceilings, on my walls. I was a freak about it, right? I was completely obsessed with learning this thing called trading. And over time, I actually started learning the technicals, but it did not take, it was not as easy learning myself, right? And I want to kind of transpose that through your journey, is that you're going to learn the technicals quicker than you learn yourself, because you need to obviously get comfortable with reading price action and getting that firsthand experience and understanding what that means. But then also knowing how you react in the market is so crucial and key, and the areas that you need to get better on. And some of that, and actually a lot of that, is just self-reflection, right? What are the things that are going on in your life that kind of put you in a point that create your decisions in the market, right? What are you chasing? Who are you trying to prove this to? And all those factors in, right? Your outside life very much mirrors into your trading life. And it took me time to realize that, understand that, and mature as the individual I needed to going into my trading. And so then, after the first, year to 2 years, it took another year to 2 years to learn all this stuff. And then I was really kind of just by myself for the most of it. I had my small group of trading buddies that I was stuck around with, but I never really had the drive to build something. And a part of me wasn't confident enough in myself either until January, really, where I started just posting stuff on Twitter, and it started catching traction, and my following grew very quickly, to the point where I knew that I had something special. And it's not anything more special than you or anyone else. It's just my experience might be a little bit farther down the road than others, and the way I'm able to transpose that experience into you might resonate a lot easier, and it might be a lot quicker to catch on, rather than having some complex. I love Michael, and I think the way he teaches is great, but it takes a while to really understand him. He's very monotone. And if you guys have been studying ICT for a while, and you've gone on his YouTube and you've watched all those videos, you can tell you might find yourself falling asleep through most of the videos, right? It's very monotone, it's very dragged out. But obviously it's very key to understand all of that information and finding your model and through the things he teaches. And then, fast forward to now, right? We're here. We wanted to create something. This is in no way, we're not reselling anything. We're not repackaging anything. This is us taking what we've learned from Michael and figuring out a platform in order to transpose that information to the best of our ability to make it easily understandable for you. I'm super excited about all this, and that's a background about me, where I came from in trading. I am from Central Florida. I'm 24 years old. I bleed the same color you do. I make the same mistakes you probably will, and I have the same desires and goals that you do as well. There's nothing special about me. I'm a 24-year-old kid. I like going to the beach. I like doing things outdoors, and I've got big dreams, right? I've got big dreams, and I know that it's not going to get there overnight. And I know that, you don't have to be special to get those dreams either. And that's something that I want to always press through you, is that you are special, but you don't have to be special, right? It's just doing the correct decisions over and over and over and over and over again, right? And not needing the results to continue on, right? I didn't get results right away. You're not going to get results right away. And you don't do the things you need to do for the results. You do them because you know that over time you're going to continuously, refine and sharpen your craft, and then that will then yield results. So that's enough about me. Henry, if you want to give a background about where you started in trading, where you're from, and what you like to do, and then we'll kind of get into everything else.
Yeah, I was first introduced to the markets probably in middle school or so, but that was that was always as a long-term investing outlook, you know, buy your mutual funds and put them in your Roth IRA for 50 years, 60 years. I didn't really find trading in the short-term form that we're talking about here until my third year of college, I think. I went to school down in Orlando at UCF. I was studying advertising and marketing, and prior to that, I was studying engineering, actually. So I moved around a little bit in my different fields, but ultimately just found that I wanted to do something for myself, and I wanted another way out of working a traditional 9 to 5. And I explored some different things. I looked into e-commerce and chatbots and all sorts of different business ideas, and then eventually came across trading. And it was not an easy start, but this is something that stuck with me. I've been at it for about 2 years and 9 months or so now. Been studying ICT's work and trading with it for about a year now. And yeah, I think what's always really captivated me about it is just that it's like solving the puzzle. That's kind of the way my mind works, you know, wanting to put all these pieces together and use the little cues and you know, solve the puzzle intraday and then make a decision off of it. And there's just a lot of reward in that. Not seeing that you're right necessarily, but just seeing that you're able to do something with this information after being told all these years that these are random markets and, you know, it's just up to probabilities and all. Seeing Michael's work and then continuing to build on my understanding of that has been rewarding. A bit else about me. Most of my time has been put into building this the last couple of months. But otherwise, I grew up in Florida just like Carson, so big outdoors guy. You know, I grew up camping and fishing, hiking, all sorts of things, playing sports, and just a normal dude. And just wanted to continue to grow, like to have this community and opportunity to share the value that I've received and can continue to learn from you all as well.
All right, Henry, if you want, go ahead and show them. Walk them through it.
All right, we'll play our little trailer real quick too, just get that going.
Henry, I can't hear the audio.
Can't hear it at all?
No, I can't hear it.
1 second. We're still figuring out some Google Meet stuff. Okay. Now?
Nope.
Okay. We can maybe show that later. I'm not sure why.
It's all right. If you want, you guys can, obviously, if you haven't watched it, you can go on Twitter and watch that. It's there for y'all. It's just a little trailer. We're going to try to put as much content as we can for just viewing's sake. But you can go ahead and walk them through the website if you want.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and pop on there. So, everybody, welcome. First time trading. All right, so everyone's welcome to head to the website now on your own computers if you like. URLs firsthandtrading.com. When you arrive at the site, you're going to be taken to this homepage. You want to take a quick scroll through. Just got a little introduction to the team here. Carson and myself. You can see we're continuing to grow. Got years of experience, tons of educational content continuing to develop on our YouTube channel and with these weekly calls. And the member base is growing as well. Take a look at the services we offer. So we've got our weekly calls that we do every Sunday, our midweek market reviews coming out on Wednesday evenings. And then this is something we actually started about 8 weeks ago now. We've been doing these training exercises, offering people a really great opportunity to start gaining that firsthand experience where you'll learn from yourself and you learn about yourself in these markets as well. I know a lot of folks in here can attest to the value that's providing and the growth they're seeing through continuing to do these exercises every week. And we have everyone make submissions. You'll see it in the forum in just a moment, but do the exercise and make your submissions. And then on our weekly calls, we actually take the time to review each of these trades that are submitted and provide good feedback there. So we got the training exercises. We got our community forum full of resources, and that's where we share the details about our calls, our midweek reviews. You can introduce yourself there, and we'll have some other resources continuing to be added to that. Terms lists and other ways for you to continue your education. And then our social group as well. We've got First Hand Trading. This is kind of like our own social platform built into the site, and it's a place where you can just engage with others, send a message. It doesn't have to be about trading necessarily, but we like to keep it trading focused. But yeah, it's a great way to connect with traders all around the world. We reach out to our testimonials here. You can see how we really are reaching across the globe here. We got Atlanta, Birmingham, England, Bucharest, Romania, Los Angeles, New York, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Naples, Florida, another Atlanta, Colombia, Argentina, Nigeria. So we're spreading worldwide. And then you'll get to just the bottom right here. You'll see these Start Now buttons all over the website. And when you click it, you'll be taken to a sign-up form. You can sign up for the site completely free. All you have to do is put an email and a password in. And as soon as you do that, you'll be brought to the members page, which you can see up here as well. Right there. Click on members. And this is just a dashboard really for the features that are available just to people who are logged into the site. So first is going to be that community forum. Go ahead and click on there. This will take you into the forum. We encourage everyone to make this your first stop when you get into the forum. Dive into here and go to this introduce yourself. And just go ahead and write a comment in here. Tell a little bit about yourself, a bit of your story, what got you into trading, what kind of models you're trading now. And you can see we've got a lot of folks engaging in there already. So feel free to pop by and just say hi to everyone and put a bit of your story in there. Back to the forum here. Here's our weekly group calls. So this is where we share all the details, the call links, and the recordings for our upcoming and past weekly group calls that we do on Sundays at 10, just like this one. Then we've got our midweek reviews. We share our recordings. You can also find them on our YouTube channel at First Hand Trading Group. Those will be shared inside here. Then our training exercises. So if I happen in there, you can see an example of one of our training exercises. This was the one from this past week. So we give a task with the overview, goals and objectives and specifications, encouraging people to journal in here. And then you can see some submissions that we've gotten already and feedback that we're providing.
And one thing to note on the training exercises, guys, is we actually, on the weekly calls, we go over them. So you guys get myself and Henry's opinion. We tell you where you can do better, but then also the things that you did in that trade that you should continue to do. So you're getting that kind of handcrafted feedback live, and you can hear us kind of collaborate on that as well. It's one thing I wanted to add.
Yeah, absolutely. Trading psychology as well. Carson and I have put a couple posts in there. You're welcome to share in there as well any lessons that you've learned through your trading journey. And there's a couple helpful points to get you started just in terms of building your mindset around trading. Great to jump in there and take a look. Trading models. This is one where we encourage you all to go in and share your specific model that you've learned or are continuing to develop. We hop in there, you can see a couple examples already. We've talked about TGIF, we've talked about lunch macro, and Axel shared in there a couple times as well. Feel free to hop in there. trade ideas, share your analysis for the week if you like in there. And then we've got vision board. This is where we want you to go in and share your goals and aspirations. You know, what does trading really mean to you, and what do you want to get out of this? You know, is that getting your time back? Is that being able to help people at the grocery store, help people make a payment, or help your family pay off a house, or you know, anything that you want to do as a result of your trading and growing too, or you know, just your self-development too. You know, who do you want to become as a person, and how are you going to get there through trading? Off topic, feel free to discuss anything you like in here outside of trading topics and testimonials. If you do find value with what we're providing here, this is a great place for you to hop in and show us, tell us about your story, and tell us the impact that we've been able to have on you. And we do really appreciate seeing those, and it inspires us to keep going as well. Questions and answers. If you have any questions about anything, this is the place to go in and make a post. And Carson and I are frequently on the website. We're very dedicated to this and want to get you those answers for any questions that you have. That'll take you through the forum. Hop back to that members page. Firsthand social is what we'll take a look at next. This is the social platform here. We've got 72 members now and growing on this platform. This is where you can just share more immediately and get immediate response as to anything that you want to talk about. So we've been sharing the call information there. Nabil posted some shorts he took in here. Arish has been sharing his pre-market analysis. We got T-Trades joining us in here. Carson did this past week several posts going through during the day. Let's see if I can find it there. Walking through an entire day's worth of price action, calling the markets where they're going to go next, and just leading the way on that trading day. A lot of that, more of that, is going to be happening soon as we continue to build up this community and add a few other features in here. You can go through and take a look at some of the old media that's been posted. Take a look at the members as well. You can actually follow and grow your own following base on the site here as well. So when you follow someone, you'll be able to get notified up here in this notifications bell when somebody makes a post, either in the forum or in the social group. And people will see as well who are following you whenever you share about anything. And then you can see the upcoming events in here as well. Right? So we've got all our weekly calls and Zooms. We'll be potentially updating these to Google Meets. We're going to do a bit more exploring on that. But either way, you've got your call links in here where you can access those, RSVP to the event if you want. And then also if you go into these, click RSVP here, we share the actual links to the events down here, so you can directly find that link right there and get right to the live calls. What else did I want to show here? Carson, any other comments on Firsthand Social?
No, you know, the biggest thing is, you know, this is made for you to you know, follow the traders that you want to follow, right? You might, throughout this community, follow traders that trade what you like to trade, how you like to trade, and it might be a little bit different than myself and Henry. So, you know, find traders that are posting things that you like to trade, the way you like to trade, and, you know, get in, you know, follow them, right? That's the whole point of the social platform. But then also we want to encourage people to, you know, use this platform to grow your following, right? You know, when you start posting stuff, you never know who's going to get value out of it. And this is not made just for myself and Henry to always post. We want you guys in there posting the things you guys see, the value you might want to give. And we encourage you to try to grow your following, right? We're going to try to put you in the spotlight as much as we can in order to help grow something that you might foresee in the future also. But yeah, the social platform, I think, is great. I think when you do something with like Twitter, there's a lot of distractions, right? There's a lot of different people from a lot of different ways, and it can get distracting. And we wanted to keep something that is like Twitter, but is actually very just trading oriented, right? You don't have to always post about trading, but for the most part, it's a trading social platform. So, you know, use it for that.
Yep. Great. I'll go back into members here. Last thing is going to be that event calendar. And here we actually share all of our upcoming events on an actual calendar. It makes it a little bit easier for you to see. And you can click into each of these and do the same thing sort of that you can see in inside Firsthand Social. Find all your events and links here. And yeah, that's a great way to keep organized and see what's coming up. This calendar is going to fill out a lot more as we continue to add other resources and potential calls into the week. We've explored the idea of doing some live tape reading calls as well. So you'll see all of that information shared inside the calendar. And we'll continue to, yep, and one-on-ones as well. So we'll continue to update this and keep this as a resource for you to see what's going on. Last thing I'll mention here, just inside of the member side of things, is this little blue button down here. So once you're logged into the site, this gives you access right here to message us directly. This is our administrator account, Firsthand Trading Group. You can also find Carson and I directly in here. If you want, you can click new chat like that and send a message. Hi, Carson. And then Carson can go in there and message me back. And this is a great way for you to connect directly with your peers one-on-one in here. There we go. Message from Carson. And if you'd like, as you continue to build a little bit of following and connect with some of the other members on the site, another thing you can do in here is you actually can do a new chat and start a new group chat. And if you got a couple friends going on here, you can invite everyone to the same chat. And then this is all of a sudden a direct messaging platform for you. So great way to connect. We're trying to really build this out as an all-in-one place for the trader. You can find everything you need here, your social platform, your way to directly connect with people, your events calendar to connect with us on our weekly calls and our midweek reviews, a community forum for resources and all the things you need to continue to grow. And yeah, we're really excited by what's going on here. Last thing I'll show here is just the member catalog. So you can see continuing to grow here as more people join the website. Here, once you're signed in, you'll be able to visit the member catalog. You can follow everyone you're interested in here and start growing your following as well. And then once you're following someone, you'll be able to message them here as well.
And I think the biggest thing about this too is like you can follow tabs in the forum, so you can follow certain categories. When anybody posts that in that forum, anybody, you can get notifications, but then you can follow certain individuals. So we wanted to orient it to where you can always get alerted, whether it's a specific area in the community or a specific someone in the community. Whenever that's active and someone or something is getting posted in, you get notifications, right? You can handcraft who you want to follow, what you want to follow, and make sure that you're up to date on it as well.
There we go.
The last thing, Henry, I would show them is just the YouTube.
Oh, yeah. So you can just scroll down to the bottom of the page. We've got our social links down here. We'd love for you to follow us on Twitter to make sure you're getting these all our updates as they come out. We're on here as FH Trading Group, and you can find that directly through the website as well. And then our YouTube. So if you visit our YouTube link down there, we have all of our past recordings from the 8 months of doing this, all our weekly reviews and all of our group calls on Sundays as well. So go in and take a look at those if you want. We've got all the old training exercise reviews on there. That's a great opportunity to learn from the lessons your peers have learned through doing the training exercises, and see the feedback that was provided there. And then go into the market reviews and see what levels and what areas have been pointed out in the past and how we were able to come upon that analysis and did it play out to fruition or not. So this is a great resource to go in and look at those past calls. And this will continue to be updated. We try to update it the same day as our calls come out on Sundays and on Wednesday nights.
So the next thing is we want to test this really quick because we were having trouble with. We want to know if you guys can actually come on and talk. We don't know if you're restricted to mute. So if someone could raise their hand and test really quick that they can talk, I would prefer anyone. It does not matter. We just want to see if you can raise your hand and talk. Okay. So someone raised their hand. Alrighty. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Alrighty. Hey, hello.
Hey, Mauricio.
So we're gonna go around really quick. If you want, you can
Perfect.
take 3 to 5 minutes, and you can just share how you got here, how long you've been following us, any value that you might have gotten, what you like, what we can do better, what you might want to see in the foreseeable future. You can give a little background about yourself.
Sure. I've been following you. I started following you first, Carson, on Twitter when you started, through Mike and Mickey. I don't know if you remember him, but it's one of the guys that that was in the military, and so started listening to the Twitter Spaces with ICT Concept with Kid, and that's how I think I got to follow you. And then I met Henry. With Henry, we developed a nice Discord friendship. He helped me a lot with setting up my trading view with different stuff that he has. And since then, I started listening to you guys. Very helpful information, very straight to the point. You guys very open to questions. Very, very helpful. I'm very glad that you guys did this. Super happy to join you. My background is on real estate. I live in Miami for the last 23 years. I did my undergrad here in University of Miami. I come from Colombia. I started my own real estate fund the past 10 years. And the past year that things have been slowing down, I started trading, to make a little bit of income on the side. As of right now, I'm more of a swing trade, since I don't like to be like on the 1 minute chart, because very, very stressful and not the cup of tea for me. But I'm as of right now, I'm doing more of a swing. So I really like the your reviews, or where do you guys think the market is going on a weekly or 2-3 weeks or monthly base. So thank you for everything, guys.
Yep. For the most part, would you say we're even on our swing analysis, where we think it's going to go? Would you say for the most part it tends to find its way there?
It is. It's I've been taking some hit on some of the trades, and I must say that I hate when you guys are against me, but and it delivers. But it is a twin trade, so I mean it is what it. I mean, that's why I'm just when I'm opening new positions or closing the current one and profit or whatever, then I'd rather just get my confirmation and then hear you guys, and maybe also with the ICT reviews and try to go in that direction. So, but yeah, on actually in June I was short, and man, it was not a fun summer. I took a lot of it. I took a lot of it until like August or something like that. I was able to get out.
Good. Glad you're able to share. Anybody else wants to come up and raise their hand and just kind of how'd you get here? How would you get into trading? We'd love to hear from you guys and get to know you guys a little bit more. Don't be shy, because I'll call out certain individuals and ask you to talk.
Feel free to come on if you got your hand raised. I think you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, we got some hands raised.
I see Nabil. I see Chingiz.
Nabil, you can go first.
Hey, good morning, boys.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you? Well,
we're good.
Let's start. Like, I'm from Colombia, living right now in Venezuela. I started trading like 3 years ago, like everybody else, during the pandemic. When COVID hit, I lost my job. I used to be a commercial pilot. So I lost my job, and so I started trading because since I was a small kid, I wanted to do trading, but I never knew how to do it. Like I never had somebody like to help me go through it. So like everybody, I started with retail stuff, support and resistance, Fibonacci, all the simple stuff. Then one day I stumbled in ICT concept, and I was like, I like that concept, like let me try it. And then I started going to Twitter. There's where I met you, Carson. Henry, I met you in the Zoom calls. Then, so yeah, after that, like since I started doing ICT concept, bro, like that, the way I think about the market changed a lot. Like before, I was like, I went too long, and then it took me my stop loss, and I never knew why. Now I know why the market is doing that shit. Sorry about my language. So
You're good. You're good.
not my first language. And right now I am in my first funded challenge. I'm in the second phase. Started a little bit down with a little bit of drawdown, but in the last 2 weeks, bro, I was scaling up very slowly and consistently. Like
Good.
I went from I normally reach 0.5%. But since I went to the drawdown, I almost hit like 6%. So I went back down to 0.2% and start scaling up very slowly. I'm not in a pressure. Like right now, that's where I'm at right now during trading. I am in my second phase in my challenge account and 100K accounts.
Sweet, sweet. Love it, love it. Love to hear it. Can't wait to see where you go. You've been great in the community. Love your input, and excited to see where you go.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
Thank you so much. Alrighty, Singiz, you're up. Love to hear what you have to say, and then after that, I have someone who I want to bring to the stage also.
Gotcha. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you guys feeling?
We're great, man. Can't do any better.
Amazing, amazing. So, yeah, just a quick little background about myself. So I started trading back in 8th grade, believe it or not. So I started with reading this book called The Teenage Investor by Timothy Olson. And right from there, I knew this is what I wanted to do. So I wanted to definitely do some form of investing, trading, investment banking, somewhere in this realm. And then after, I think, like college is when I really took it serious. Like after like 8th grade, I would read all these books and, you know, just join all these webinars, seminars and all that stuff. But I never really put money in until college. And then once college hit, that's when I really kind of buckled down. But just like, I guess everybody, I guess a lot of people that Michael talks about is we just learn these retail concepts. And we get burned. We get burned a lot. So I went through the same range, support, resistance, you know, all these different, you know, concepts, RSI, you know, all these indicators. But I noticed that I was behind the curve. And I had one person that I guess I befriended in college, and he brought me to ICT. And I think that's when everything just shifted for me. So I started to look up on ICT, and I joined the mentorship around 2020. And when I joined the mentorship, man, I was buckled down. I was like, all right, this is the sauce. I'm learning everything right now. Like, this is exactly how price books. And I'm just so thankful that I have found that. So I did the entire mentorship in 2020. And, you know, now it's 3 years in. You know, I understand it, not at the level, of course, that Michael does, but I guess every day I'm getting closer to it the way he understands it. You know, I look at price, I'm like, oh, okay, the technicals are there. This is exactly what Michael talks about. But the thing that I want to say that I struggle the most is the psychology aspect. And that's where I strengthened my ability when I joined this this group with Carson and Henry, is that it definitely aided the psychological aspect. And I think the more I learn about trading, the more I realize it's just trading psychology that you really have to master. The technicals, you know, it's kind of like, you know, reading a book. You read a book couple times, you're gonna remember, broad strokes of the chapters of all these different things, but really understanding it is putting into practice. And when you put it into practice, you need to know the psychology. And I think that's the part where I need to strengthen it the most. And since I've joined this group, which was, I think, January or February, I think I stumbled upon Carson's tweet, and he said, "Hey, listen, I have this group, come join in." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm all in." And at that time, I was kind of like a year off of ICT's concepts. I was just too busy with work. But once I got back into kind of like this group, I started to paper trade again, and definitely the learning curve is wild. For anybody that's new here, when I guess the weeks pass, you'll understand these concepts far better than you do on your own. It'll take a long time to do it on your own, but when you have it in practice with someone that has done this multiple times and knows how to explain it both on a psychological and technical aspect, your learning curve it's going to be insane. It's a crescendo. And that's definitely what happened to me. The technicals were definitely brushed up, and the psychological aspect has definitely improved. But that's definitely what I have to say for sure.
Thank you so much. Honestly, thank you. And we're gonna continue to grow, right? You're gonna get everywhere you need to be. I have two individuals on this call. I'm gonna bring one up now, and then Nick, I know you're in here, and I'm gonna draw you to the front after Philip. So a lot of you guys have really kind of seen me in the past 8 months, but I really wanted someone else to describe what these past 6 years would be. These two individuals, they have seen me from day one. They've been with me from day one. They saw everything. They were here. They learned. They saw everything when it was not fun. They saw how late the nights really got and how early the mornings really got. They practically lived with me for the first 3 to 4 years of my trading career. And I can say everything that I want, but I want them to come up and actually, share, their experience, not only throughout their trading career, but also what it was like learning with me when I was in your seat. Because you're not going to really get it if it's from me. You won't really truly understand what it took to get to this point and what it does take. And these two individuals saw it. They were there. They were right next to me. We were right there in the same screen, and really have been here since day one. And I want to bring up Philip. He has been my right hand for all 6 years. We've been together through numerous ups and numerous downs. And if there's anyone that I can sit here and kind of have this stage and kind of really transcribe what it takes to get to this point, and how obsessed you kind of have to get with this stuff, and how obsessed I was to really get to this point, it's going to be Flip. So Philip, if you can come up to the stage, I'd love to hear from you.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
Howdy, brother. Howdy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a nice Sunday morning. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to see a bunch of new faces and what you guys got going on over here at First Hand. First off, just want to thank Carson for giving me the opportunity to first off speak, and second off, I just want to say how proud I am of Carson for staying through the course, never giving up, being a great leader as far as a leader for me, a leader for First Hand, and a leader for his family. Just a lot of trials and tribulations, as this journey of trading can be very detrimental to the psychological flow of a person. And just to tackle through all the battles and triumphs that me and Carson have been able to go through, it's honestly amazing. It just goes to show what kind of person he is. He's an overcomer. And just a little backstory on us, he went to we grew up in the same hometown, and we went to different high schools, and we basically had mutual friend groups. I had gotten to a back injury when I was about 18 years old, and I was hit with an excavator bucket. From there, I was bedridden for about 2 years with 3 deteriorated discs to my back. And in that process of me being bedridden for two years, I found Carson. And in the process of finding Carson, me and him both found trading. I don't know if you guys have heard of IML, but that's where we started. But basically from there, it became a long journey of like he said, just sleepless long nights and early mornings of just putting in nothing but hard work, taking losses after losses, blowing accounts after accounts, just really digging deep into a new career path, a new journey. And in that, obviously, you find your hiccups. So it took us about 2 to 3 years to find Michael's content, and we're about going on 2-3 years, or about 4 years now, actually, of actually mastering his content. So it didn't start off, like he was talking about earlier, the folk that was talking about earlier. He was saying, about how when you watch these retail concepts and you start to really decipher where smart money and institutional order flow is actually starting to come into the markets, you see a whole different side of, honestly, life. It's not even just the market itself. It's like it opens up a whole different side of life to you as a person, because for so long you were taught something that honestly hindered your growth. And then to come into a place where everything just makes sense, or you just get more clarity from the things that you were just kind of beating you up, it gives you that sense of peace. And more than anything, through this time of being integrated with Carson, he's brought in so much peace to my mind, to my the psychology of a trader. He was the person who kept me level-headed. I was that person who was obsessed with the markets. I'd stayed up 3 days straight, 72 hours straight, catching $1,000 each day in those 72 hours straight, just to lose all $4,000 the following day. Just straight nonsense, honestly, when it comes down to it. But it teaches you the greed, the overzealousness, the patience, the comfortability of being content with your profits, or being content with your loss, even with your loss, like, not stretching, different profits or different losses more than they need to go. Just give yourself that identified risk and stay inside of that risk. Carson was very helpful, beyond helpful, when it came to that. I'm not going to lie. I was one of those people who, I looked at things for the money and not for the percentages. I looked at the markets for what they could do for me and not what I could get out of them. And when you come into the markets with those sort of mindsets, it's very harmful to the trader, because it gives you a lot of unrealistic ideologies of what you think you can do in the market and what really the market's going to do to you. But in that, this man Carson has paved the way. He has provided such an insight into the psychological of my own brain, and kept me in so much of a level state when it has came to whether it was taking losses, blowing accounts, just seeing how, something that could look so, textbook to a Michael trade, and then it completely goes the opposite way. And then you're looking at yourself like, where did I go wrong? What did I mess up? All these different things. Carson was that person to walk me through. He was walking me through each and every trade. He was helping me understand where I was taking my losses, how I was taking my losses, how I was being stubborn, how I was being ignorant towards my account, my portfolio. And obviously, the portfolio will always reflect how you are stepping out of line of character in your trading. And it sometimes is very easy to just turn a blind eye to those things because you're doing it to yourself. But when you have that third party source to bring that insight to you, to say, hey, we traded to get a lot of the times we traded in the same room together. And there'd be days where he'd be in, we'd be taking the same trades, and he'd be in like retarded blue profit, and I'd be just over leveraged, and I'd be blowing my account on something that he's receiving 2, 3, 4% on. You know what I'm saying? And it was stuff like that that would just really hinder the growth of who I was as a trader and things like that. So I definitely want to, give my hats off to Carson and what he has, produced and what he has done, especially for me and my trading. So I know for a fact, without a shot of a doubt, that, what Firsthand has to offer and what they're going to bring to the table is more than enough than what you guys can even handle, honestly, because my boy he's running on all cylinders. He has been running on all cylinders. He said he was going to do something, and he did it, and I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you, brother. And Philip will be active in the community too. He's a very good trader. He's well-rounded. He knows it. He's been around it. It's nothing new to him. And he has his insights too, right? Where I was, he was too. So I was able to help him, and there were areas where he was able to help me. And I'm glad that we're still here, and I'm glad that those charts are still in front of our face. Another person that I would like to bring on. He doesn't have to, but he's not a trader, but he actually saw all of this from the back end. He was able to actually help us. I'm not a big tech guy. Henry is a little bit more of a tech guy, but not as big as this guy. He was able to kind of help answer all the questions to get this thing actually real in front of you. Parker, if you want, you don't have to, but if you want to say a couple words, you saw this get built from the ground up, and you're kind of going to be doing some help on the front end, doing some moderations, or from the back end, doing some moderations for us. He's kind of been our insight to the web analysis of all this and actually what it takes to get this thing going. Parker's a close friend of mine. He's been around and, always been in my corner. I'm excited that he was able to kind of team up with us and help us here also. Parker, if you want to, you can raise your hand or you can say a couple words.
Yeah, sure. I mean, first, I just want to, give Henry some credit because, I helped you guys with some analytics and some of the back end stuff, but Henry really built the whole platform you guys see in front of you. So, and yeah, Carson, I've seen you doing this for a long time now, so it's just exciting to see this next step, and I'm super, super thrilled to be a part of it, and excited to see what happens next. So
thank you. Parker's going to be there. Parker's going to be there to make sure that the website doesn't crash. So you'll make sure that is, our latency will be there, and hopefully we can, continue to grow. Right? It's the first volume of the website, but we hope that as time goes on, the platform evolves both on the front end and the back end. Other than that, anyone else would like to step up, share how they got into trading, how they got into here. I'd love to hear from all you guys. The biggest thing for me is creating this community is not just to teach you guys how to trade, but I'm not going to be able to help you to the extent in which I know I can unless I get to know you guys. I want you guys to feel safe in this community. I want this to be open, and I want you guys to feel as if you're in a area that everybody and all eyes on you are there to support you. And the reason why I was able to help someone like Philip as much as I was because I knew him as a person. I knew the things he was going through. I knew the things that he wanted to get to. And you can only go so far, and I can only teach you this, and this, and this. But if something, if I don't know you as a person and I don't understand you, there's this blur to why you're making the mistakes that you are. So I'd love to hear from all of you guys. I know we have some familiar faces. Anthony, I see that you're in here. Anthony's someone that's been around for a minute and has always stuck close with me. We've got Kat. I see you in here. Kat's been great. She's super active in our community. One of the cleanest charts I've ever seen. She's got very clean charts. And she was able to help us on the beta testing thing too. She was able to point out some bugs and some errors. So she's been great to the community on both ends, both helping us, get the platform ready, but then on a trading side too. She's well on her way if she's not already close there. Does anyone else want to come up and chit chat? Going once, going twice. There she is.
Hey guys, can you hear
Hey,
me?
I can hear you.
Loud and clear.
Cool. Yeah. First of all, I just want to say thank you for building this community. I mean, I've gotten so much value out of it. So yeah, I mean, I found trading like everyone else in 2020 when my sister introduced me to options, but you know, just like confusing with all the Greeks and stuff. And I really soon realized that I loved futures, and you know, it took a couple years until I found Michael and obviously Carson and Henry. So yeah, I don't know. I've just been learning so much, and I think I still have a lot to improve on, but definitely being in this community has helped tremendously, just with both the psychology and the technical. So you know, I hope everyone joins and we can all grow together. So thanks a lot.
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I'd love to hear from anyone else. Please feel free to speak up. You know, we've got a lot of people, but obviously there's not a lot of people, you know, compared to the numbers that are actually utilizing the platform. But you know, this is recording, and you know, that'll get out to individuals that might not have been able to make it. And same thing, right? They want to, you know, hear and understand everything to the point where they know, you know, who they might follow or who they can help. Another thing too is, you know, before, and I'm going to do a little, obviously this is a little different Sunday call, but I will give my take on dollar, and Henry will do a little take on ES. But other than that, you know, I'm super appreciative. I can't thank all of you guys enough. I want you guys to know that, you know, all the work I've put in, myself and Henry, on the back end just to get this ready is half of the work that you guys are going to see going forward with all of us, you know, and helping you grow as a trader and helping us grow as a trader. You know, we're going to always be there. We're going to be constantly checking the platform, answering any questions, posting. I'm going to be, like I did this week, I'm going to be posting levels live before it happens on what I'm looking for when it happens. You guys can sit there and watch, study. You know, I'm letting you know the exact candle, the exact level. You know, before it happens, you guys can sit there, follow it, study it, and then in the future, I'm going to be actually trading live in front of you guys. I'm going to be doing kind of like live streams trading on a couple days a week. And you guys are going to be able to see it firsthand. It doesn't get any more firsthand than that. It's something that I'm not going to get into right away, but it is something in the foreseeable future. But until then, I'm still going to be posting on that platform live in the mornings, right? But, you know, 20, 30 minutes before certain things happen, I'm going to let you guys know what I'm looking at, right? And you know the way the wind blows with this thing called trading. There's going to be days where it's spot on, and there's going to be days where it just kind of consolidates and doesn't really hit any of the levels, and then there's going to be days where I miss, right? And that's why this is a learning platform, and I'm not expecting you guys to sit here and you know, full margin accounts or even trade off of it, right? That's at your discretion, but at the end of the day, it's a learning exercise, and I want you guys to see it actually happen before it happens, and that's going to be key to your learning development as well. If anyone wants to, for the last, you know, couple minutes, please speak up, let us know. If not, me and Henry will go into ES or DXY and, you know, kind of get you guys at least a little thing to go into this week. You know, obviously this is a different type of call, but usually this is when we're talking about trading and going over exercises. Henry, do you have anything else?
That's it on my end, ready to get into the charts. I think I saw a hand from TS. I don't know if you want to come on. Your hand disappeared, but feel free to raise your hand and unmute yourself if you like. Go ahead and hop into the charts.
You want me to go first, Henny?
I'm not seeing anything. So yeah, let's go ahead and we'll get into DXY and ES.
All right. Alrighty. Tell me when you can see my screen.
Looks good.
All right. Dollar. Monthly closure. October, we're here. September, you're in the rear view. Couple things to note if you were in the community and you're kind of watching what I was looking for. The main thing was obviously understanding where this monthly candle closed, right? There was a point where we were up at this breaker, and I was curious to see if we closed above or below the weekly breaker that we'll get into. But on the monthly, my biggest keynote is this SIBI low right here, right? We closed above it, right? So that to an extent shows me that we might not, for at least the first half of the month, be quite ready to go lower. But we are pulling up into that range equilibrium. We have not quite hit it yet, right? This high to this low, we have our equilibrium. Biggest thing to note on the monthly is that we are in this SIBI, right? We are in the SIBI. We did close in it, but we are in it still. And note that for the following months to a couple months of where we could potentially go. And keep this level, keep this SIBI low on your charts to understand what it does on lower time frames. On a weekly time frame, right? We've been outlining this breaker for weeks. This breaker right here, note the high of the month, right? Note how sensitive we were, right? And this breaker is still valid until we technically get really closure above it. So I'm still keeping that in the background of my mind of understanding that right now, my eyes do go to this high right now, because now this last week's high is important, right? Not only how sensitive it was to the high of this breaker, but I'm understanding that this high should, for the most part, stand, right? You might get another wick above it to then potentially go lower, but for the most part, I want to see if that high holds. And if that high holds, how does that retrospect to that monthly SIBI low, right? Because you might get a pull up, but it might, respect it, right? Get the consequent encroachment of this wick in here, right? So if we come in here, right, understand that the consequent encroachment of this wick, watch that on lower time frames too, right? So now we've been overextended. I've been trying to see if dollar forms at least some form of intermediate high. It has not yet, but now it's showing that we very well could potentially start to form a high. I do understand that there is still buy-side liquidity here, and I am still bullish because it has not given me anything predominantly to turn from bearish, but I'm understanding where things could potentially line up and how a high could potentially form, right? I'm expecting something, but it's not there yet. So I have to know what I'm looking for, but two, understand what it needs to do to form and what it needs to do to invalidate. And so I'm watching that. Same thing goes, obviously, previous week's high. I'm watching this previous week's high because we did also close above the mean threshold of the breaker, right? So we did react sensitively to the top half of the breaker, but we did not close back below the mean threshold of it. So when price comes back down and tests that area, right, do we test the mean threshold as support and test this weekly high and go higher, right? And then give another stab at potentially going back above this breaker? Or do we retrace back up into the consequent encroachment of this? And then if we start to give way of this previous week's low, there is a little tiny BISI in here, right? So if you look in here, there's a BISI right there. Understanding how price plays in that BISI, right? Do we respect it and go higher? Or do we use it as inversion and start to go lower? Something that I'm looking for. And understanding how the candle closure on the daily and weekly is playing transposed to the mean threshold of this breaker, right? Because right now we still have closed above it. So now we could start to, see a rally. But I want to understand the discount arrays being this previous week's high, this BISI, the consequent encroachment of this wick, right? I'm looking at all of these areas and seeing how it plays not only with regards to weekly and daily closure, but how price is actually creating structure and liquidity on the lower time frames. That's something to keep note. If we would have tapped into the range equilibrium and pulled back where we were, I would be a little bit more bearish, but we're not quite there yet, right? We haven't quite hit that equilibrium. The only thing that is keeping me still to the side of we might not get there is the fact that we do have price already up into this weekly SIBI, right? And we've already tapped into the monthly SIBI. So there's something here that could potentially, we could start to roll over, but we didn't tap it yet, right? And I'd like to see price, if we are going to go lower on the long-term end, I would like to see price dive into, go into a discount, or excuse me, a premium. I would like to see a push up at least into a premium to understand that premium pricing and how it reacts with regards to higher time frame order flow. But really nothing has changed for me on dollar. I'm still somewhat bullish, but I'm understanding how overextended we are. If you look at this weekly candle, it has been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 weeks since it one down closure candle. right? We're at a point where we've gotten very extended. If there's one thing I'll add on the weekly, it's this breaker right here, right? You can see that breaker. But notice how sensitive we were. We've already tested that area right here, right? We closed above it, hit it, and went higher. So now, even though we are overextended, I'm curious to see if we make a high, and if that high is made, what does that come off of, right? Where do we pull into, and how do we react on these areas? If you go into a daily, we actually started to get, you know, this down closure candle in here, but look how quick we were to pull right back up, right? Very quick to pull right back up. So one thing that's going to kind of be for the first part of this week, it's NFP protocol week, which means I'm active in the markets only on Tuesday and Wednesday. And obviously I don't trade Mondays, but Mondays, if you trade Mondays too, but I'd like to get out of the market after AM session on Wednesdays. I'm watching the mean threshold of this candle right here, right? I'm watching this candle. We're close to it, and I want to see how price potentially reacts going into it. So if we come into here, are we sensitive to it? Or do we kind of give way to it and go higher, right? So I'm keeping that on my charts, understanding what that's going to look like going into the first part of the week. For the most part, this is already overextended, but it still looks like it's still going to go higher. That's what it looks like, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to happen, right? And that's a big part of your trading, is understanding that you don't trade what you think you see, trade what you see, right? And I understand that price came down and pulled back up, but we still have on a weekly areas that can be filled. And notice how the consequent encroachment of this up close candle is the same consequent encroachment of this wick. So keep that in mind, right? And if you actually go over here and you look at the consequent encroachment of that, you have this range in here that I would be looking for if price pulls into it, and I would be expecting price to go lower. If it doesn't and you get closure above it, then you can start to use that, right? And then if and when price does get above this breaker, now you're wanting all of that to be used as support, and you're wanting, you know, to get that next run into what would be this buy side liquidity in here, and that equilibrium of that monthly BISI, and then into the range, equilibrium range of the entire monthly yearly swing. Other than that, that's about it from dollar. I am still predominantly bullish, but I am now dialing in a little bit more onto where that high could potentially form. I have understanding where price could potentially reject from and keep this high, which would be this area in here. I understand where, if we do reject this high and go lower, where we could basically bounce from, right? It could be the mean threshold of this breaker. It could be that weekly BISI. It could be this previous week's high, and it could be as deep as this consequent encroachment of this wick. Now, last thing to note, now that we are above the consequent encroachment of this breaker, overall, I want this top half of this area or bottom half of the breaker, I want that to be sensitive, right? I don't want price, if we're bullish, price should not be there for long, if at all. If it's there and it hangs around and it likes to stay below the mean threshold of that, then you might have a high in. And so it's not calling a high, it's understanding how the high could form and what the price actually, if a high does form, what price action am I looking for to predominantly confirm that that is a high, and what levels need to actually invalidate, right? If it's a high forming and we're expecting lower prices, what discount levels do I need to watch on lower time frames to see them invalidated and then inverted? Same thing, vice versa, right? If we're going to go higher, those discounted rates should now respect, and that whole bottom half of this breaker and all these areas should be relatively sensitive, and we should continue going higher. Does that make sense? Does that make sense there? Does anyone have any questions on dollar going into this week on NFP? All good there? Any questions there? Okay, Henry, you're good.
Can everybody see my screen? Carson, you see it? Thanks for the thumbs up, Patrick. All right, starting on the monthly chart here on ES, we're just closing out the month of September. And this is really the range we've been trading inside on the monthly chart this monthly BISI here, between the high of the May candle and the low of the July candle. That separation right there. You can go into your lower time frames, your weekly, your daily, your 4-hour and hourly, and look, utilize these levels throughout intraday price action. So always keep these marked when you're looking at a higher time frame and efficiency. Keep the high, the midpoint, and the low marked. And now you can see as we're getting into the end of September, we just closed out this month on Friday, so we'll be opening a new monthly candle this week. We did get closure below this monthly BISI low, which is just reinforcement to me that this bearish bias is likely to continue going into the next month. And so you can start looking for continued sell side targets, which is just going to be the lows of previous monthly candles. Right? So under June's low here, and potentially reaching down to May's low if we do get really extended down that way. We also have this old monthly volume imbalance from back here. You can see how it was utilized here, 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 here again.
Henry,
This is
can
a
you hear me?
potential area. Yeah, I hear you.
Go to your settings and change. What's your cursor color on? For some reason, we can't. I can't see what you're. Oh, now you're
Can you
good.
see it now?
Yeah, I
Oh,
can see
okay.
it now. Yeah, you're good.
All right, so referencing this volume imbalance back here, utilized there, and this is an area we could potentially return to in here. I'll drop down into the weekly chart now. So you can see we traded down into the sell side targets we've been talking about in the past couple of weeks. If you've been here with us, this inefficiency here between this candle's high and this candle's low. We also have a little volume imbalance separation there. We reached into there this past week and got that closure below the monthly BISI low. So next, I'm just looking to sell side under this low and under this low right here. Very similar thought process here, yeah. All right. So we talked about in last week as well, not wanting to see on ES closure above the consequent encroachment of this wick on the daily chart right here. So you can take your fib and mark out consequent encroachment. Yes, price did trade above it, but that's totally fine. Trading up into this up close candle, this order block right here. What we didn't want to see is closure above this level, and we didn't see that. So now we're trading back down as we ended the week on Friday, got the closure below the monthly BISI. And this week, I would look for continued consolidation and then working down toward the sell side down here as well, right? So now we have this low right here, this swing point. We've got a low with a higher low to the left and the right. And then this one down here, which you could see on your weekly chart as well. There is a small inefficiency, piece of this inefficiency remaining here as well. So you can see when we had this retracement here to fill in this inefficiency on the daily chart, piece of that was left. You can see it's there. So we can look for that area to be delivered to down there. Okay. So with dollar continuing to be bullish for the time being and the indices continuing with their bearish order flow, I'd like to see these lower sell side targets trade. And the only reason I would expect price to start delivering back up into this area here is if we do get that closure now above Friday's highs, then we could start potentially reaching up into buy side up here and up into this gap. I wouldn't totally invalidate a bearish idea if that were to occur. I'm not expecting that to happen, but if we did trade up into this area, I wouldn't invalidate a bearish idea on the daily time frame until we got a closure back above this monthly BISI high here. So I'm keeping these levels marked. Let's see, Michael said, what is the lowest shaded inefficiency? This one down here is that volume imbalance on the monthly chart. So on the current contract, ESZ 2023, that's that volume imbalance right there. Okay. Any questions here on ES?
For the most part, it's kind of same thing that we talked about last week. For now, get dialing in a little bit closer on dollar, but for the most part, it looks like everything stays. Expecting higher prices on dollar and still expecting those lower prices on ES. Understand that it is NFP week, so things will get wild going towards the back half of the week. But with regards to your trading, please make sure that you the first half of the week is going to be a lot better to trade. It always is. And yeah, we're going to go in and we'll share our trades.
Can I have just a quick question to Henry?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead, Henry, sir.
On the daily, on the ES, on Friday, we create that week. If you can put the chart back. So should we be aware of that consequent encouragement for Friday's week, and also that one that you have noted there? Actually, it probably be a little bit higher.
I would continue to monitor the consequent encouragement of this wick here.
But will you?
Yes.
But will you be aware? Will you give some importance to that consequent encouragement on Friday, or not?
Yes, Friday's wick as well. Yeah.
What I would do is
as an area to trade back up into.
What I would do is take the two consequent encroachments, get the difference of them, and then what's that little tiny shaded area? Those
5 handle
areas. Yeah. So I would take that 5 handle area and draw that out going into your chart this week, and understand that when price pulls up into that, because what can happen, and one thing I wish Google Meet had that Zoom doesn't, is annotations, but that's where you could be getting that swing point high on a daily, right? That swing point is that 3 candle pin pattern, and that's where you can get that third candle going up into there.
And will you consider Friday's consequent encouragement as a PD array? The consequent encouragement that Henry has, I don't know what day exactly is that. Another PD array plus that fair value gap. So if we were to close above Friday's highs, that would be basically invalidating 3 or 4 PD arrays on the higher time frame. No?
Yeah, you would be in. I mean, technically, it would be 3.
You could look at this consequent encouragement here, this one here, and then looking at the order block as a whole.
Yep.
So if we start to trade back up above the high end of this order block, then you could potentially anticipate a return up into some of these higher inefficiencies. It doesn't necessarily invalidate the higher time frame context of still trading down into sell side, but you could expect at least a short-term move back into
that's what I'm struggling, because usually when I see like 3, especially 4 PD arrays getting failed, I start moving more towards the next, if I'm bearish and you get failed, then obviously I'm moving more into the bullish side. But since I see that daily fair value gap, which is a big gap between that that one, that's if we were to get there, then we would have failed probably like 4 or 5 PD arrays already.
Yeah, and I think another way to understand that too is looking at dollar, right? Dollar is very overextended, so if something were to happen where price does get up into that level that he just highlighted, that's dollar making its intermediate term and potentially long-term high, and you don't want to. I don't want to sit there and call it a long-term high before I've got a better understanding of it. But that's when that dollar does, it's been overextended. We've had 18 weeks straight of just up closure weekly candle. If dollar does try to do or want to do this sudden kind of price delivery lower, that's where you're going to get ES to kind of fill that area. And then that's where how ES responds, if it does trade at that area, is going to be a key indicator as to if DXY is actually printing in that long-term high, or if it's just a retracement to go higher again.
Okay, so watching both. Okay, great, thank you.
Not a problem. I think there was another question in there, Hitty.
How do you utilize economic calendar within this analysis? Let me see what we have earlier in the week. So there's ISM manufacturing on Monday. Not much on Tuesday.
Well, I guess it's starting
over
today.
Wednesday.
The
So-
government shutdown. The government shutdown. I think that's why we ended up in red on Friday, because they were not gonna get a deal. It was very unlikely. So
I think they reached a deal.
yeah, they did. So everyone is super bullish now.
And that's something good to note too, with regards to where the week can open, right? When something like that happens on a Friday late in the day, that one of the biggest things that you guys can utilize going into this week is the new week opening gap, especially on a week like this. I wouldn't be surprised if that new week opening gap is very transparent and it's relatively big, and noting how price responds going into the first 10 of the week of that new week opening gap, right? So where did Friday close? Where did Sunday open? Take that area, grab the consequent encroachment, even quarter it down if you want to, and understand how price reacts, right? Does it leave it open for the first, day to a couple days of the week, or does it go and fill it automatically and then start trading away from it in whichever way it opens? That's something that's going to be key to understand the narrative that this week might play.
And those new week opening gaps and new day opening gaps as well are areas you can utilize to help identify potential Judas swings too as well, right? So when you have a new week opening gap and then early in the week you see a run above it, since we do have this higher time frame bearish bias, then you can see when price trades back below it, does it start using it as an area of resistance to trade back lower into those sell side targets. So potentially earlier in the week, you can see a little bit of continued consolidation, maybe a move a little bit higher up into some of these premium arrays that we see, ideally still below this bullish or bearish order block right here, this up close candle, but inside of this general range up here early in the week, and then toward the later side of the week working down into sell side targets.
And even vice versa, right? If it opens up, and it doesn't do that, right? How could that potentially transpose against it, right? If we open and go lower and fill a gap, right, that might lead to potential higher pricing and getting inputted in the week too. So it's not it's not understanding or trying to know whether it's one of the two. It's just identifying what it is and knowing how the behavior can transpose going into the first part of the week.
Yep, trading what we see.
Yep. Nabil even said also the CO2 report showing commercials are starting to close long positions in the last report of 26th of September on DXY. Alrighty, someone else said that's crystal clear. All good there. Does everyone have any other last minute questions before we close the charts? We're going to go ahead. I know usually we go over exercises. I did the exercise this week. I'm not sure if Henry did or not, but we're going to go in and just send responses on the website and post ours also. We might actually just do a recording after this and post it in the website also of just us going over your guys' trades and ours trades too. You guys will probably just like a quick 10-minute video. That'll probably be easier for y'all. But other than that, Henry, what else is on the agenda for this call?
Let's see. Yeah, that pretty much concludes it for us today.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on this launch. It is here. It is for your use. The best thing you can do for us is be active and let us help you. Help us help you. And also just continue to share your support, right? Support goes a long way. It goes in different manners, whether it's just hopping on these calls, being active in the community, like, subscribe, share, let people know that, this is something that it's very new, but also there's something like this that has never been done before. And, we want to try to, we created this platform to be able to reach as many traders as we can. And with that being said, it allows you, the more people that are in here are the more people that you could potentially get to help you, or the more people you could help others, right? My biggest thing was going in and trying to recruit, and getting experienced traders on board also, right? So it's not just myself and Henry. There's going to be traders in here that, you might not trade ES, you might not even trade indices, there's going to be other traders that are experienced that might trade Forex, that might trade commodities, right? Philip's a big gold trader. And I think over time, you know, you're going to find your niche, right? And what we're going to start doing is on these Google Meets, and even in the forum and website, we're going to start trying to have weeks where we break people into small groups, right? We're going to take, you know, you're going to have one experienced trader that trades what you like to trade, and then there's going to be 4 or 5 individuals in there that are all learning, and you know, we're going to divide tasks around that. So it's kind of the same way we've been doing this, and kind of just going over whatever. We're going to try to get you in the markets that you like to trade, in front of experienced traders that we trust, that are well versed in that specific market, and then, you know, you guys go in and kind of do your own research, and then bring that back to the call, bring that back to the community, and understand this, that, and the other. So, you know, breaking you guys off into work groups and understanding certain things is going to be super cool and fun, and all that good stuff. Other than that, you know, just my overwhelming thank you. I cannot wait to see where all of this goes. You know, we're not trying to, you know, run ads all over the place and try to, you know, sell this, right? We don't even want to try to sell this to you guys. We want this to be something for you guys to just try and let us know, right? If it doesn't work and it's not for you, great. That's perfectly fine. Best to you, and I hope you find success. But if you find success in this, share it with someone else and say, hey, you know what? This is something that I think could actually work. It worked for me. And if you're struggling in your trading, give them a shot, and understand that, you know, just because you sign up and you make an account doesn't mean that you're automatically going to get good, right? It's getting that firsthand experience, right? We've created a platform for you guys to have that firsthand experience, to go and get it, but we can't show up for you. We can't join the calls for you. We can't do the exercises for you. We can't post for you. We can't press that buy and sell button for you. It's going to require effort on your guys' end, but know that that effort is going to be reciprocated tenfold back towards you, right? And, you know, not only are we going to try to do live trading sessions, but even the one-on-ones, right? We're going to try to get to a point where if you want to schedule a 1-hour one-on-one with me and Henry, and you really want to get personal about it, and you really want to, you know, try to figure it out, and it's something that you might not flourish well in these big group settings, but there's so many questions that you have, and you just want to sit down one-on-one, face-to-face, and really just get our undivided attention for you and only you, we're going to have that offered as well. So there's a whole bunch of things that we're wanting to grow, and the biggest thing and the way we grow the best is your feedback, right? What are some things that you like in the community that you want to emphasize it, but then what are some things that you might not spend as much time into that you think we can do better, right? That ever-growing feedback is going to constantly help us thrive, because we listen to you, right? Not only do we listen to you, but we hear you. We have 2 ears, and we actually listen to everything that you guys say, all of your feedback, and some things we can change right away, and it's quick and it's easy, and some things it's going to take a drawn out process and blueprint to figure it out. But we'll figure it out, right? We'll figure a way to cater best to you guys. Is there any other last questions, comments, concerns before we go ahead and give you back your Sunday? Anybody? Nope. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. We're going to be big. I'm excited. I'm fired up. I cannot wait. It's going to be huge. We're going to be the biggest thing since bread. All right. And we're going to be filled with bread. We're going to be big. All right. You're going to be big. All of us are going to be big. We're going to figure out a way, right? You're going to figure out a way. We're going to do the damn thing. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see where we end the rest of this year. I'm excited to see what we do next year. Right. And I will see you guys on the platform, in the website, on the calls, and have a great Sunday. Have a great week trading, both, you know, actually trading and whether it's tape watching. I will go ahead and I'll wrap it up there, right? Be safe, both inside and outside of the market, and it's going to be amazing to see where you go within your journey. Go and get your own in this big old world. You got a whole bunch of people that are got your back, and they're ready to sit there and help you in the manner that they can. Just know that, you know, you're going to find yourself down. I find myself down. And whether it's inside or outside of the market, you got a group of individuals that want the same thing you do, from the same people that came from the same areas that you come from. Other than that, I'm going to end it there. Godspeed to you all. Let's go ahead and let's do the damn thing. All right. I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of all of us, and we're going to be big. We're going to be real big. I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks everyone for being here today. Thanks for your feedback and your commentary. hop on over to the site, firsthandtrading.com. Go ahead and get your account set up, and we'll see you in there.
Peace.
Take care, y'all.